Before I get into a more detailed explanation of how I got the answers for these questions, here is a quick view of the answers for the 2024 PEP Ability Test paper. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and share to anyone who may need this. Thank you. Quickly through the answers for these questions. And as I said, I do have a class for those who might not be a part of my current class. I do have a class online. Every Monday we go through the past papers for the different subjects. So if you want to be a part of that class, you can send me a message in the comment section. All the other exams coming up, we are still preparing for those, the performance task exams, and then the curriculum-based exams coming up later in this year. So every Monday we meet and we go through past papers for those different subjects. So let's get started with this one. So our first answer, all right, so there are 40 items on this test. You must choose the correct answer. There's only one correct answer. You're going to read each item carefully, select the correct response, then shade the corresponding letter of the answer you chose on the answer sheet provided. So of course, those would be the general instructions, which I'm sure by now you guys should be familiar with those. All right, so the first question says, which option correctly completes the analogy in items 1 to 4? Ship is to ocean, as train is to, answer is track. Okay, the ship sailed in the ocean, and of course the train is on a track. All right, question 2, exercise is to fitness, as saving is to wealth. Okay, so we exercise to become fit, and of course we save to accumulate wealth. All right, let's go to question 3. Barber is to hair as chef is to. All right, so the barber takes care of our hair, and the chef prepares food. Dinner is too specific, lunch is also too specific. Number 4, reggae is to music as basketball is to. Okay, so reggae is a type of music, a genre of music. Basketball is a type of sport. So the answer is D. All right, so these are pretty straightforward so far. Let's see what the others have in store. So for items 5 to 7, you're going to select the option that does not belong to the group. Okay, so we have P, price, discount, and cost. The one that does not belong to the group is discount. Okay. All the others are similar. The only one that's different is discount. Question 6, movie, comedy, horror, action. Okay, comedy, horror, action, those are all genres. Those are all different types of movies. So the one that does not belong to the group is movie. Question 7, mansion, hotel, castle, house. All right, so 3 of those are typically residential buildings, right? We live in those. A hotel is really for short-term stay. So it's not like the others, okay? I know some people might say that, people live in hotels and so on, but that's not the norm. That's not the usual, all right? We can live in a mansion, we can live in a castle, we live in a house, but a hotel is usually where you go for short-term stays. That's not typically where somebody lives. All right, so for items 8 to 10, you're going to select the option that is in the correct alphabetical order. All right, so of course, alphabetical order, pretty much how they would appear in the dictionary. Okay, so what word would you see first as they would appear in the dictionary? All right, so let's look at the different options there. Plant. Okay, so we're looking at all of, well, PL, PL, PO, PR. Okay, so we have LP, all of them start with a P, the second letter. So we have to look at the second letter, L, L, O, and R. So what will come next? Okay, so L comes before O and R. So the two ones with L, well, which of those would be first? You go to the third letter, they're the same. So then we go to the fourth letter, that's where they're different. So of course we will select based on that. So after we have done all of that, guys, you can take your time to look through. The correct answer is A. That's the one that's in the alphabetical order. Question 9, again, we do the same thing. All of the options start with SA. It starts to differ when it gets to that third letter. So we have to look to see based on alphabetical order what we put next. All of them have the same start, okay? SA, 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 SA. Then we have to look to see whether it's a B or U, what comes next, and so on. And so the answer for that is D. Based on the alphabetical order, then D would be the correct alphabetical order. All right, let's move on. Question 10, the same thing, okay? We look to see, all of them start with CRIT, but again, we have to look at the letters that follow and see what is the most appropriate. And so the most appropriate would be B, okay? So for items 11 to 13, which is an essential part for the word in bold, okay? So tree, what's an essential part of a tree? The answer would be roots, okay? The tree doesn't have to have blossom, it doesn't even have to have leaves. Sometimes the leaves fall from trees. It's still a tree, but for it to the tree to be alive and to grow, it has to have roots. All right. Question 11, swimming. What's essential for swimming? Okay. We see the options there: pool, water, bathing suit, life jacket. It's very important for swimming to have water. We don't have to swim in a pool. We don't need a bathing suit. We don't need life jacket. We definitely need water in order to swim. All right, let's get to the next. Election, okay? What is an essential part of an election? Is it post as a president? Is a campaign or voters? I mean, we can have different type of elections, right? It doesn't have to be a presidential election, right? Or we're not necessarily choosing a president. But in order for us to have an election, then we need to have voters, okay? So the answer for 13 is D. We need voters. Okay, let's get to question 14. For items 14 to 15, we're going to look carefully at the words given in each box, then choose the option that arranges the words in a meaningful sequence. So we have good, better, worse, best, worst. So we are going to go, this is a pretty much a range, right? So we're going to either start from the best or the worst, right? But those would be pretty much the options there. When we look at the options, they all start with worst, okay? So that means we're getting from worst to best, all right? And in terms of the order, when we look at them, so we get from worst, okay, to worst, okay? Worst would be the most extreme, right? That's the worst one, the most extreme, okay? So worst, worst, good, better, best. So our answer would be C. Again, you guys can take your time to look at the answers just to make sure that you do see what's going on right here. All right, question 15, the same thing again. We're looking at the range, okay, from worst case scenario or from one extreme to the next, okay? What's the complete range there? And so for 15, we have options never, sometimes, generally, hardly, and always. So again, we have to look at where they start from based on the options. They have either we start with sometimes or always. Looking at those two words, we can see that always would be the most extreme, right? And then we go, I guess we're working our way backward, so never, right? If you always, the opposite of that is never, so what comes in between that? So we look at the different options again, and so from always to generally, which is, usually, and then we go to sometimes, then hardly, then never, okay? So the answer for 15 is D. Okay, moving on. For items 16 and 17, you're going to read the statement in each box and select the option that is a logical conclusion from the statement. Mr. Ainsworth prefers to go to the market on a Saturday. All right, so the different options there. Saturday is Mr. Ainsworth's favorite day of the week. Most people go to the market on Saturdays. Saturday is a more convenient day for Mr. Ainsworth. Market goods are sold cheaper on a Saturday. Okay, so based on what the sentence, the statement says, the statement in the box, what is a logical conclusion? Mr. Ainsworth prefers to go to the market. Why would he prefer to go to the market on a Saturday? Okay, the most logical answer there, it didn't say that that's his favorite day of the week. He prefers to go on a Saturday, but he could prefer to do other things on other days. So that doesn't necessarily mean that's his favorite day of the week. Okay, so the correct answer is that Saturday is a more convenient day for Mr. Ainsworth as it relates to market activities. All right, 17, most doctors practice healthy eating habits. All doctors eat healthy on a regular basis. It is likely that doctors eat healthy. Many persons who eat healthy become doctors. Doctors should encourage patients to eat healthy. What can we, based on what is said here, what is a logical conclusion based on what is in the box? Okay, all right. Most doctors practice healthy eating habits. It is likely that doctors eat healthy. So it says most, right? You can't have the conclusion then that says all. So it is likely that doctors eat healthy, all right? It's not a given that many people who eat healthy become doctors. And yes, we know that doctors should encourage patients to eat healthy, but nothing from that statement indicates that. Okay, so the answer would be B. All right, moving on. Item 18. For item 18, we're now going to read the statement and the three inferences in the boxes. Then we're going to select the option that represents the inference or inferences that can be drawn from the statement. So the statement says the recommended age for children to start learning to swim is age 1. First inference is that this is a good age for children to start developing water safety habits. Inference 2, after age 1, learning to swim may be more difficult for a child. Inference 3, swimming lessons are more expensive for children older than 1 year. So the statement says the recommended age for children to start learning to swim is age 1. Okay, what can we infer? What do we get from that statement? Okay, so here are the different options. I want to try to put everything on the screen. Okay, only inference 1, this is a good age for children to start developing water safety. After age 1, learning to swim may be more difficult for a child. Inference 3, swimming lessons are more expensive for children older than 1 year. All right, so looking at this, we can see that inference 3 is definitely has nothing to do with what was said there. So any answer that includes option 3 or inference 3 should be eliminated. So then the only options there, 1 and 2, but which of those would most likely, based on what he's saying, you could infer from that, right? So the inference then is that it's a good age, the recommended age, right? If you recommend something, that means it's a reasonable thing. It's a good age for them to start developing water safety. So you can infer that or deduce that from what is being said. So the answer for 18 would be A. Okay, moving along. All right, so we are now at 19 and 20. All right, so 19 and 20 have words from an artificial language and their meaning. We're going to use them to answer each question. Okay, nasal means covered. Nasal point means boardwalk. Saying lasan means suitcase. So which word could mean walkway? Okay, walkway. All right. So we're looking to see what word means walkway. The only word there that has anything to do with walk or way is boardwalk. Okay. So we can look at boardwalk, and boardwalk has nasal point, which it has nasal, I'm going to assume means board, and then point means walk. So which of the words could mean walkway? So I'm looking at the two options there, A or C, right? They both have the word, let me put it up here. They both have the word point, okay? But which part, the end part now, could mean way, all right? So there's no word here. I see spale here. Spale is in this word covered, but it didn't say walk board or walk up, so of course that would not be correct. So the only thing, FORC, that's not here, and so we did not have an option up there. So it would be safe to say that 19's answer would be C. All right, let's get to 20. It's the same thing. We're going to be looking at these artificial languages and to figure out what MEH Z could mean in the language. Okay, so Kul Shen top means fire engine. Top Shen means police car. Mes Top Shen means ambulance. Okay, so what does the mes mean in this language? All right, so we have options there: medical, fire, police, emergency. All right, what could that mean? All right, based on what we see there. So if we look at fire engine, that has to do with fire. Police car, that has to do with the police. Medical would be the most appropriate because medical, all of the three options, medical, police, and fire, they all deal with emergencies, okay? But the fire was specific, police car, and then the fire engine. So for an ambulance, then I guess that would have to do with the medical aspect of it, right? As I said, fire, police, and medical, those are all different types of emergencies that somebody can have. So for an ambulance, I'm assuming that part would be medical. All right, let's go. Halfway through the paper. All right, so the clues in the box below describe the same number. Use them to answer item 21. Okay, the number is an even number. The number is less than 40. The number is a multiple of 7. So if it is an even number, then we automatically can take this one out. This is not an even number. The number is less than 40, so 42 will also not be an option. All right, so we have two other numbers there. We said the number is a multiple of 7, so we will look at the two numbers. Which of these numbers is a multiple of 7? 32 is not a multiple of 7, so the answer would be, let's get to the next question. Examine the number 2197 on the calculator below. Use it to answer item 22. Okay, so 2197, 2197. Which digit in the number has the largest value? Okay, all right, so of the numbers, 7 represents 7 ones, 9 tens, 100, and 2 represent 2000. So the number that has the largest value would be the 2, and that is B. Okay, let's go to the next one. Question 23. Examine the pattern below. Use it to answer item 23. All right, so the first we have 2 over 4, then we have 4 over 4, 3 was a diamond, and then we have 8 over 4, 10 over 4. Even if you're not sure how these would equate, in terms of the fraction or the value of the fraction, all the numbers at the bottom are the same. All the denominators are the same. They're all 4. When we look at the numbers at the top, it's a pattern, right? So we have 2, then we have 4, then what comes next, then 8, then 10. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. All right, so we don't necessarily have to work out what the value of these fractions are. We could simply see that the number at the top should be 6 based on the pattern that's presented. So for 23, the answer is C, 6/10. Moving on, question 24. So you're going to examine the two towers labeled M and N and the information provided in the box below them. Use the towers and the information provided to answer item 24. All right, so look at the tower. Okay, there's an asterisk here. There's an asterisk here and another asterisk here. Okay, so the first row of each tower is highlighted in blue, so it's a bit gray on this paper. So in the first row, an operation is used on numbers next to each other to get the number directly above those numbers. The operation is also repeated in row 3 in each tower. Okay, so you do something to the numbers next to each other to get the number directly above it. So what did they do to 2 and 4? To get 6, they added them. Okay, what did they do to 3 and 7? They added them to get 10. So what do you think they could have done to these two numbers here? Okay, we added them again, so the answer is 7. And of course, if we use the 7 to add to 6, we see that it's 13. 7 added to 10, we get 17. Okay, so they said that the asterisk represents the same number in it. So we didn't even have to work this out because it would have been. But let us see if the answer is correct. So 6 plus 1, that's 7. Okay, 8 plus 1, that's 9. All right, 9 and 7, that's 16. So we know that our answer is correct. That's 7. Moving on, question 25. It says, examine the puzzle below. G represents a space where a piece was removed from the puzzle. Use this information to answer item 25. Let me see if I can pull it down a little bit so we can see everything on the screen. Which of the following could be the missing piece of the puzzle located at G? All right, so G, this is G right here. Okay, this is G over here. This is G. So what would be the missing part? This one, this one over here, that goes A, B, C, or D. What could be the missing piece? Now we can eliminate some of them. All right, so we can eliminate C because C has 2 straight points when this one should have only 1 straight one. So we know, of course, that C would not be the answer. Okay, and so let us look at the other options there. Okay. So we know we need 1 straight piece. So of course, A could not be it either because we need at least 1 straight part. So the answer could either be B or C. Okay. So looking again, based on the shape of the thing and knowing where the side would go over here, then this part turns up, this part turns up. This part would be the part that turns up, but it doesn't match this part over here. So the answer would be D. That's the most appropriate. You guys, you can pause it and check it to see if it makes the most sense based on the point. This point here will go right here, and so you could see how it fits. All right, let me bring it back up a bit bigger. All right, so 4 athletes competed in a race. Their times are shown in the table below. Use it to answer item 26. So they have the names of the athletes, John, Adrian, Pete, and Thomas, and their time in seconds, 24.80. That's for the sake of this question. 25.23, 24.86, and 25.01. Which athlete had the second fastest time? We will first need to arrange them who is first, second, third, and fourth. Okay, so of course 24 point something second or 25 point something second. So of course, you know, the fastest time would be those the 24 point something. All right, so of the 2 options there, 24, right, which is first and which is second. Okay, so these would be the 2 options, 24.8, 24.86. So, of course, the number that's the lowest number, that would mean that's the fastest time because you would have completed the race in less time. So who is first? John would be first and Pete would be second. So it says which athlete had the second fastest time. So the second fastest time is Pete. All right, question 27. Which number is the closest to 1,000? Is it 900, 909, 990, 999? Of course, if you're not sure what to do, you could simply subtract each number from 1,000, but I'm sure most of you would have figured out that this is the closest. You only need one more. Okay, it's one away from 1,000. This one is 10 away from 1,000, all right? This one's 100 away from 1,000. So it's, you can see which one is closest. But if you're not sure, guys, as I said, I'm not going to take it for granted that you always knew what to do, but subtract each of them from 1,000, see which one has the lowest number, right? That would tell you that's the one that is the closest to the actual number. Let's get to question 28. All right, so read the information given in the box below. Use it to answer item 28. Jane has more pencils than Mark. The number of pencils Kevin has is less than the number of pencils Mark has. Sometimes these can be tricky, so sometimes you might have to read them once or twice, 3 times or more, depending, right, how quick your brain is for you to determine what they're asking. So Jane has more pencils than Mark. So we know that whatever amount of pencil Mark has, Jane has more. So from that, we can start to see who is first, who is next. Then it says the number of pencils that Kevin has is less than Mark. So Jane has more than Mark. Mark has more than Kevin. So Jane has the most, then Mark, and then Kevin. What option, right, presents that information where Jane has the most, Mark is next, in terms of the amount that he has, and where Kevin would have the least. Based on the options there, option 28A, okay, where Jane has 8, Mark has 6, and Kevin has 2. That's the option there that works. All right, let's get to 29. All right, the table below shows 2 tiles. Use them to answer items 29. Okay, so option 1, 8 units by 8 units. Option 2, 12 units by 24. 8 times 8, that's 64. If you're looking at the area, it's 64 units squared, 64 square units. Over here, it would be 12 times 4, 48 square units, okay? Which statement is true about using the tiles to tile a floor? You will need to buy twice as many option 2 tiles as option 1, the same number of option 1 and option 2 tiles, more of option 1 tiles because they're bigger than option 2, more of option 2 tiles because they are smaller than option 1. All right, so when we see over here, like I said, this is 64, and over here, 4 tiles is 48. All right, so based on the square units, right, the area it covers, okay, for option A to be correct, right? Then, I mean, for, yes, A to be correct, then option 2 would have to be half the square, the space, right, of option 1. It's not half, okay? If you were to work it further, you could have done the ratio and found out how many units, right? The lowest, the ratio, pretty much the basic units of option 1 compared to option 2. But if we don't even need to go through that. We just know that 64 is not twice option 2, so we don't need twice as many, right? It is more than option 2, so you would actually need more of option 2 because they are smaller. Okay, but we can't say twice, so we don't need the same amount. And we couldn't take more of the bigger one since they're bigger. We would need more of the smaller one, okay, because we would need more to fill up the same amount of space. All right, so the answer for 29 is D. All right, examine the jar with 20 sweets below. Use it to answer item 30. About how many sweets will be in the jar when it is full? Okay, so this jar they told us has 20. Okay, so when we look at this jar, all right, then that's pretty much where half is. So half is thereabouts, that's about half. So if we have 20 there, they're saying how many sweets will be in the jar when it's full. So since it looks like it's halfway full, then at least we know we can pretty much at least double it, right? 25, no. 25, we can hold way more than 25. 30, again, based on that this is half of it, and it looks like it's half full, then 30 would not be an option. 60 would have to be 3 times the amount, and that's also not possible. But let's look at 45. See that this is halfway and there was still space to hold more here, right? We could still fit a few more in here. Then I would say that 45 would be the amount of sweets that could fit into the jar if it is full. You could easily fit another 20 plus some extra since there's space here to be filled out. All right, 10 more questions to go. All right, the number 525 on the number line below is halfway between 510 and x. Use the number line and this information to answer item 31. Okay, so the number 525 is halfway between 510 and x. Okay, so halfway between here and here. Okay, halfway between here and here. So even though they have the number 537 there, that's has not much to do with what the question is asking. All right, so what number could replace x in the line? So if we compare from 510 to 525, there's a difference of 15. Okay, 15 units. All right. So from here to here, we would also need to have another 15 units. Okay, so 525 plus 15, that would allow us to have 540 over here. So that would be the answer. And again, if here's 437, right, based on what we have here, then it could not have been 538. And we could have also eliminated a few of the answers in that way. But if we compare here, the difference between these two would be 15. And if it's halfway, that means that it would be the same thing over on this side. So again, we would need another 15, and that makes it 540. So the answer for this question is B. All right, moving on, we have 9 more questions to go. All right, so examine the 3 scales and the information provided in the box below. Use them to answer item 32. Okay, so the bananas, we have pineapples, we have mangoes and bananas. The bananas weigh less than the mangoes. The bananas weigh more than the pineapples. So the bananas weigh less than mangoes. So between bananas and mangoes, the mangoes weigh more. Okay, and then we say that the banana weighs more than pineapple. So the mangoes weigh more than bananas, but the bananas weigh more than pineapples, so the mangoes would have the most weight, the bananas would be second, and then the pineapples would have the least. All right, but let's look at the statements though to see. That's just pretty much, trying to figure out what the answers and the weight should be. Which of the following is true about the pineapple? The pineapple weighs more than the mangoes? No. The pineapples weigh more than the bananas? No, because it does tell us that the bananas weigh more than pineapple. The pineapple and the mangoes weigh the same? No, it doesn't. The pineapple weighs less than the mangoes, yes. Because since the bananas weigh more than the pineapples, but the pineapples weigh less than the mangoes, then it's safe to deduce that the pineapple also weighs less than the mangoes. For 32, the answer is D. All right, we're going to examine the graph below and the information given in the box about the graph. Each bar in the graph represents one of 4 types of clothing: blouses, shirts, jeans, and shorts. Use the information provided in the graph and in the box to answer items 33 and 34. Okay, so we have the number of clothing sold at a store, type of clothing. All right, so jeans had the highest sale. Fewer shirts were sold than shorts. More blouses were sold than shorts. So again, we have to take our time to figure out what each of these mean and of course to find out what the answer is. So they're asking us which type of clothing was sold the least. So like I said, we know that jeans had the highest sale. So when we look at all of these here, then this is jeans, okay? Because jeans had the highest sale. Okay, jeans. All right, what it says again, fewer shirts were sold than shorts. Okay, we had fewer shirts sold than shorts, and then we had more blouses being sold than shorts. Okay, so jeans is completely out of it because that they told us it had the highest sale, but we had fewer shirts were sold than shorts, so we can take shorts out of it too because there were fewer shirts than shorts, right? So we know that we had less shirts being sold than shorts, and then we had more blouses being sold than shorts. So again, since blouses was more than shorts, shorts is more than shirts, then the type of clothing that was sold the least would have been shirts. The answer is C. Again, guys, you take your time to figure out the relationship. If you have to draw, scribble, whatever you have to do to get the answer, then that's what you do. All right. How many blouses were sold? And again, based on the relationship, all right. So we know that, again, because we know the least amount, we said the least amount was shirts. So this would be shirts here. Okay, so now I have to determine how much was blouse and how much was shorts. All right. So we had more blouses than shorts. Okay, all right, so let me put SHI so I don't mix it up with shorts. This is shirts, okay? So more blouses were sold than shorts. So of course this would then be shorts. If we had more blouses being sold, right? This is short. And oops. And this would be blouses. Okay, so how many blouses were sold? All right, we look across, we see that it's 25. So the answer for 34 is B. Okay, moving on to question 35. Another graph again. All right, so guys, remember that even though we're practicing these, well, for those who wanted to see if their answers were correct, that's for your benefit. For those who might be in grade 5 currently, remember that sometimes what we're looking for is pretty much how to go about answering. Even though I'm just going through the answers now, but you have to understand that the questions might not necessarily come back, but it's just the approach. How do you go about trying to figure out what the answer should be? All right, so the graph below shows the total points earned by 4 teams at the end of each round in a competition. Use it to answer items 35 to 37, okay? Total points earned by 4 teams at the end of each round of a competition. So team 1, they tell you what the color is for that. Team 2, team 3, team 4, okay? So pretty much based on how the colors are right now, that represents the different teams. And then, of course, we have round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4. So it says which team scored the most points in round 1. So in round 1, of course, whichever one is highest, the one that's orange, and that's team 2 that was represented by orange. So the answer for that 35 is B. Okay, moving on to the next question. In which round did team 1 score double the points they scored in round 3? So in which round did team 1 score double the points? So we have to look at round 1. Sorry, not round 1. We have to look at round 3. Okay, so team 1, how much did they score in round 3? And remember, we have to look to see which one doubles that. So in round 3, based on the fact that it's between 4 and 6, I would say it's 5. So they scored 5 points in round 3. And of course, they doubled. So we have to look to see which of the options doubled that amount. And so round 1, they got 10, so that doubles 5. So the answer for 36 would be round 1, 36A. Next question. Almost there, guys. We are now at 37. All right, so which statement is true about the graph? More points were awarded in round 1 than any other round. Let's look at that. More points in round 1? No, that's not true. Okay, because if you look at round 2, they have consistently all gotten above a certain number. So that would be safest to say round 2. All right, team 3 had the most points at the end of round 2. Let's look at team 3. Okay, and again, that's not correct because for round 2, they all had the same. And for round 1, they did not have the highest. So that would also not be correct. Let's see. Team 2 scored the highest points in each round. Let's look at team 2. That's not also correct. Team 2 scored the highest in round 1, but not, and round 3, but not in the other rounds. All teams scored their lowest number of points in round 3. Round 3, yes, each team had their lowest points in that round. So the answer for 37 is D. Next question, item 38. There's a question, for item 38, there's a question followed by 2 statements. I'm going to read the statements carefully to see if they provide enough information to help you answer the question. So for question 38, how many persons can fit inside the 3-section stadium? Statement 1 says the yellow section has 300 seats. Statement 2 says that the red section has 3 times the number of seats that the blue section has. Okay, so statement 1 talk about yellow section, 300 seats. Statement 2 talk about the red section and the blue section. Red section having 3 times the number of seats as the blue. So we don't know how much the blue has, right? So we can't tell how much the red has either, since they didn't tell us how much the blue has. So let's look at the options there. Statement 1 alone is enough to answer the question. What was the question? How many persons can fit inside the 3-section? No, we can't tell from that information, all right? So we don't know how much was in blue section, so we don't know how much is in red section either. Both statements together are enough? No, because there's unknown information. Statement 2 is enough? No. Both statements together are not enough because we don't know how much is in the other sections to tell how many people. We would have to have the information for the blue, then we could tell what the red was, and then we could calculate how much in all. We don't have enough information to determine that. All right, almost at the end of the paper. Question 39. 5 toy cars of different colors were lined up next to each other. Use them and the description about them to answer item 39. So we have 5 cars lined up. All right, they said the blue car is first in line. Let me see if I can use my colors here to see if I can use the colors. All right, so the blue car is in front. All right, this is the one in front. They said that the blue, I'm looking at different things. The green car is next to the purple, but not beside the red. The green car is between the purple and the orange, and the blue car is next to the orange car. There's only one car that's next to the blue car, so we don't necessarily have to do them in order, but whatever is easier for you to figure out, that's what you do. All right, so I'm going to use this as my orange. So they said that the blue car is next to the orange. So there's only one car next to the blue car, so that must be the orange car. All right. And then they say that the green car is between the purple and the orange. So there's only one car that could come between the orange, and the other side, right? So they say green is between purple and orange. So I'm going to say this is green. And then this must be purple, okay? Let's see if it holds true with the other thing. It says that the green car is next to the purple car, which it is, but it is not beside the red car. So yes, I think I did it all correctly, okay? So these are the different colors for the cars. All right, so they said which car is in the middle? And of course, the answer for that is green. So the answer is 39. So 39 is A. And then we get to the final question on the paper. We're going to examine the mathematical sentences below. There are 3 shapes, okay? And each shape represents its own unique number. Use the mathematical sentences and this information to answer item 40. So, okay. So this first shape represents 2 points, okay? Or number 2, okay? And then we multiply it by a triangle, with that shape. And of course, so all we have to do is simply substitute the numbers, okay? Shape, this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hexagon. All right, so that's 2. So 2 times a number gives us, we don't know what that number is. We also know that this is 2, and this is 2, and this is 2. So far we have 6, okay? So the 3 hexagons would give us 6. So 6 plus a triangle equals, what's that, a square? And 2 times a triangle equals a square. So what is the value of the square? Okay, so we know that when we multiply 2 times the triangle, so the triangle will have the same value in both sentences, right? So 2 times whatever that number is will give us that, and then if we add up 6 plus that number, it gives us that. So we can just pretty much try all of them, the different options to see. Let's try the first one, 2 times 6. If I say this is 6, 2 times 6, 2 times 6. Why is it not going around? Hold on there. We are at the last question. No trouble, no, no. All right, so we are at the last question. Let me do it again. So 2 times 6. Okay, that will give us 12, okay? So 6 plus what gives us 12? And so this, if I say that is 6, then this should also be 12. All right, and you could do the same thing. I got the answer already, so I don't need to work the others out. 2 times 8 would give you 16. Would 6 plus 8 give you 16? The answer is no. 2 times 12 is 24. Would 6 plus 12 give you 24? The answer is no. So the answer is A. That concludes the solutions for this paper. As I said, for those who have already done this paper, I hope you guys did well. Those who are looking forward to doing this paper next year, I hope you guys start practicing from now. And I hope you would be successful as well.